My testimony begins at church. I've been at my church since I was 4 years old. I've grown up there, I've loved it. And I started serving when I was 10 years old. I started serving on the worship team, and honestly, serving has been the very thing that has kept me anchored. And I think that's basically my testimony in itself. Just, I think in short, it's just God's faithfulness, particularly in serving, because there is such a humility and understanding that what I'm doing is not even about me. And I think growing up, understanding faith and not having that conventional story is, can I start again? Sorry?
No, fine.
Okay. Take two. Holy Spirit, where do you want me to start this? Okay. Yeah. So, I grew up in church and I've remained in church. And I think in short is, my testimony is just the beauty of remaining in God's presence. I think it's easy to talk about the conventional stories of going away and being led astray, and that is great and it's very powerful. But I think growing up where my testimony has been, I have been at church and I've stayed at church and I've genuinely loved church. I think that I've felt disinvalidated and almost silenced in the Christian community, where it's like, oh, well, you don't follow that traditional narrative. And so yeah, I've grown up in church. I first went to church, when I was 4, and I started serving in the worship team when I was 10. And I think that's the very thing that kept me anchored during secondary school and now in uni. I think just even serving has been difficult, has been challenging, but I think there's such a blessing in that. It's been hard because I think understanding and just having that Christian framework in a secular world in schools and just growing up, even as a prepubescent teen, was really difficult, because explaining to my peers that I don't want to engage in the things that you're doing, not because I don't love you, but I just love my God more. And not really having the language to articulate that was really challenging. So I think, I think it was hard, and I really resonated with the story of the prodigal son, not the prodigal son in itself, but the son that remained, and the resentment and the inability to articulate why it is very challenging to genuinely remain, but understanding there is a particular blessing that is coming through just staying beside your father. And I think my testimony, even to those that are watching, that it's okay to stay. It's okay, like you don't have to follow the conventional narrative of being led astray, even being away from home or whatever stage of life that people are in. Like, it's actually the most beautiful thing to remain in the presence of God, because I've seen the way that God has orchestrated my steps, not in the ways in which I would have intended it to go, but the way that God has intended it to go. And it is way better, and even better than I could have even imagined. So I think that's my testimony as a whole. I think I usually just leave it for the ones who have the big transformative testimonies, but I think even the way in which God has transformed my heart and my mind to be able to articulate myself very young is a blessing that I don't think should be silenced.